Well, hello there, everybody. How are you? Let me go over here. Yes, I got it. And yes, that's there. So, welcome, everybody. It is, I guess, in some places, Taco Tuesday. I kind of
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
I love
it is here.
tacos. I mean, Mexican cuisine is probably like, my top favorite food group. You know, like
Oh,
chocolate. Chocolate is a food group by itself, at least in my world. So,
for sure.
exactly.
For sure.
Like, sure. So welcome everybody. So good to see y'all. And let me just go back over here. And now I am where I should be. I love time travel.
Right.
Trina is so cool. So favor over us all, nothing missing, nothing broken. Boy, be of service to others, folks. If you ever need that kind of good karma in the bank, now's a good time to be banking it. And happy prosperity days. This is a second look. You know who I am and my lovely co-host, Miss Trina Phoenix. What's up, darling?
Oh, just another beautiful day in the neighborhood. Happy
It is.
Valentine's to those who do celebrate, and happy day of love and sunshine to those who don't.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Valentine's, I mean,
Mhm.
it's amazing how modern culture, in one hand, says, we don't believe in all that, esoteric, occultic, nonsense. But
Right.
yet, us occultists, pagans, we sit back and go, oh, really?
We
Well, how
take
many
care of all
holidays
the
do you?
holidays.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, which one do you think is exempt? None.
Done.
Uh, so yeah, I mean, I'm going,
Yeah,
sure, okay, yeah, you can just continue to say that. That's cool.
absolutely.
So Trina, I know you and I talked right before we went live. I don't know if you want to tell everyone that or if you want to let you handle on that, but
Well, yeah. Well, apparently I'm going to be a grandma. So I'm excited about that, but we'll see how it goes. Oh boy. Yeah.
you see, that's one of those pictures that you begin to frame, and as you get along in this realm, I'm 24,500
Mhm.
days and counting. When you hear the term grandmother,
Mhm.
grandma,
Yeah.
mama, Mimi, it's a clear indication and sign that the procession of life continues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really
Yeah.
is to watch life continue through each other, through our love, through each other. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, Lynn and I were talking last night on the show I did yesterday that the truth is there are those that died in the past, and who
Mhm.
knows who we have in us. But the great thing about having, the progeny of children is
Mhm.
that you are being passed on. I mean, it's kind of where you
Yeah.
can almost say where mortals become immortal.
Yeah, I felt like literally when I created children, it felt like I was creating a part of myself and giving it away. And it was a part of me existing in them because my blood was their vessel. And I always knew that
Mm.
somehow. My blood was their vessel. It carried their
Yes.
light and brought it into this earthly plane in manifested form. Yeah.
I did a series called The Birthright,
Mhm.
how each of us, and it's amazing because the woman becomes the entrance of, I believe it is, I see it now, it's truly a portal. It's
Yes.
amazing what you females can do. Physiologically, it blows my mind. But then when you really begin to take this to the real essence of whether it's a soul, whether it's a reincarnated spirit, does it really matter? What it is that it's truly this portal that brings, and you can only get here through the blood right.
Yes.
We
Isn't it
all,
amazing too? It's when you look at inside the womb, it's dark, watery, filled with life and
Hmm.
movement and growth and all potential and stem cells. And it's just doing so many profound processes just because it locked into the waters of the womb of the mother. If it would have locked into the womb of a tiger, it would have become a tiger. It depends on what it locks into. But these
Well,
potentials are so vast, and it's the womb, that darkness, that dark water that
actually, you're
creates it all.
describing Genesis 1:12 right there in that passage, because that is, and, we're trying, because they got to position it into this monotheistic, patriarchal position. But actually, that's the description of what Earth was. She that is who and what she is. That's where life is, and we get so freaked out about it. But it's that darkness, it's that dampness, it's that this essence that is able to transport material from the ethereal.
Yes.
And that's how we travel.
Yep.
It's the only way we can travel. We travel through that essence and that cord. And that's why we have the umbilical cord. It is literally the same way that is in the ethereal realm. When it's cut,
Yes.
our cord is cut.
Yes. It's like as above, so below.
Yeah. Yeah.
Micro of the macro. Yeah. Everything that we do as a physical body, you can see the same representations happening in space and the same representations happening on the earth. It's all connected identically, but with so many potentials of expression through form. But
I
it's all
believe
so similar.
at death, and I'll speak this from my spirit. You see, I'm seeing that the death event is actually my reconnecting to that umbilical cord on the other side. That's how I get back.
Yeah.
It's how we all get back.
Yes.
How about that, folks? Did that just freaking blow your mind? Think about that for a little bit. More truth in it than what you realize.
It's so funny. This song in my mind just started play Tiny Bubbles.
And it's interesting because when you study the whole aspect of blood, as in my former religion, I was very acutely aware of blood. There was a pastor that I studied under, Rick Shelton, that probably did. I wish I'd had kept that cassette. Back in the day, you would get these teaching cassettes, and the clamshells, could hold 12, 24, cassettes.
Yep.
Anyway, I digress. He did a complete series on the blood covenant. And Trina, because I have a almost perfect identical memory, as I look now, as I enter into the initiation of my initiation, the continuation of it about understanding blood and blood covenants. The essence of blood is where the life is.
Yep.
It is said that when the blood stops flowing, the spirit begins to move away, because that's the essence. And the thing about a blood covenant is really interesting as we're talking, because we're about to get into something that becomes a conundrum, is that they have this extension into the ethereal realm. And if an individual, for instance, when I was growing up, you would have a blood brother. And I don't know if it was with girls or not, but with guys, where, you would actually, cut your hand, and you would basically mix the blood. I mean, we were doing this as children. What's that, hon? Go ahead.
My roommate that lives here now, the one who my friend who just moved here, we were blood sisters when we were little girls.
How interesting.
Yeah. We came back together, and we're like, it's very, There's a bond. There's some kind of bond with that. There really is. Because we are still very, very connected. I mean, I read her mind all the time. It freaks her out.
Wow. That we weren't even going to talk about this, but it's deep, because, when you think about it, we were children.
Yeah.
And for
12.
us, yeah, and for me, I think I don't know, I think I may have been 10, but I had no idea what we were actually doing. This was a
didn't
blood covenant.
I didn't either.
You know,
I
like
thought it just
what?
meant I love you, you love me, and we're going to
Yeah,
be loyal to each other. We're going to be
yeah.
friends for a long, long time. Okay. That's what I thought it meant.
Well, Rick Shelton taught me where it originated from, and it's an interesting custom. Back in the day, when there weren't that many humans on this planet, in fact, humans were far fewer than the wildlife. Humans were typically just another part of the menu for that animal kingdom. And so when two families would come together, depending on the custom of that region, and in this case, I'm going to use the male patriarchs of each clan. So what they would do is that they would first form a circle, and this circle be in stone. It could be by other members of the clan that would then link hands. And the two patriarchs would get in the center. And what they would do is that they would, in fact, slice each other's hand. And as they grasped this, they would walk around a sacrificed animal, because that becomes the sealment of this covenant. And what it meant was, let's say, Trina, your tribe and my tribe came together. And so, and in your tribe, it could have been the female. Many people think that it's been only the masculine, not always. But you and I, we would have this thing where we would then grasp hands, and we walk around 3 times. And we would say, wherever you go, whether it be you or your seed, I stand with you no matter what your need. And as we did this, we would then seal this bond by reversing that. That would then make this that you and I, our clans were forever joined together.
Wow.
And that's where that custom comes from. And it's interesting, because if we pull it back into how it brought us into this realm, it is that, as we would talk about the mitochondrial DNA, it's the divine feminine that allows the entrance, the portal, to be opened.
Yep.
So
I think that's absolutely true.
Well, you think about this is deep stuff, man. It's just deep stuff.
It's so weird too, because I have those pre-birth memories of going into my mom's body, and it was a portal. I was being in and out through a portal, seriously, to a different dimension.
Yeah.
Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I kept jumping out of the body and traveling back through the portal. And they're like, no. And I was like, yes. So yeah, there was a battle going on, but I was traveling. I was bouncing in and out. And then I remember when I got stuck and the lock went on my head, it was like clunk. And then I was like, oh, and then lights out. It was very interesting, because that's a portal for sure.
Yeah, I had, and who knows if it was a lucid dream or if it was actually in the astral realms, but the earliest memories I have now, before I come into this realm, is it's really weird, because it felt as though it was a chamber within a chamber, and you're literally put in this receptacle, and it's tight, it's uncomfortable, and you're about, it's interesting. It's like you're transported, and you know what's coming. And it is, one person told me, who she is a midwife. She said, you're giving the description of what she says. It's almost like how you can see as the child is leaving the womb. It's that same sensation, that same thing. And it's extreme and excruciating pain. And again,
yes.
Yeah, and it's weird, because we're facing it twice. I think we face it once within our spirit, or what you would call, if you want to call it, your soul,
Yes.
But boy, we feel it again in the physical. And that's why the birth process is it's a one-way ticket.
Mhm.
None
Yeah.
of us could survive it. You know,
It's literally a crushing experience for real.
bingo. Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Mhm. I think this is
Deep,
where
deep
so
stuff, man.
much claustrophobia, I think
Uh,
claustrophobia is a psychosis from this. I really do. I really think it has something to do with the birthing and bringing your soul into matter, because it's like you feel like you get squished, really
yeah.
squished. Yeah,
These
it's really
glimpses
intense.
I have, and they're just, they're like micro frames,
Hmm.
you get this, and I just get the sense it's, you know, and I have a sense that it's all of us, everyone that goes through this ritual. Um, it's it's like they're it's this place that's got chambers, and I mean they're endless. And that's how we do it. Now, I don't know
Yeah.
if Trina, if we're being forced into this or if we're volunteering for this. I'm not, that's the great debate.
I think it goes so many different ways, and I think it depends on the soul that's doing the incarnation. So I really do. I think some want to come back and do it again because they want to make things better. I think some want to come back because they want to have a body.
Yeah, isn't it
Some want,
interesting as you
yeah,
were
there's so many
talking?
reasons.
So we hear these acts of violence. I understand since the first of the year there have been 67 mass shootings in the United
Wow.
States. I mean, something's going on, and I don't get this. I mean, because to me it's foreign. I, I don't understand where the soul is in a situation like this. But so it's interesting. So in one way, you said something. They want another body. Well, yeah, it's almost like, okay, so do they immediately go back in? I don't know. But it's very obvious something happens. That's
Hmm.
why I don't think we all go to the same place. When my portal opens up and
Hmm.
I step through it, I'm going to be where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too. You're gonna resonate and go to where your consciousness and your frequency takes you.
Hmm.
Because when remember I told you I had visions of taking souls to different levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what did it, Wayne, was they changed their mind. And when they
Hmm.
would change their mind, they would be able to have access to a higher dimension, but it was based on their own choice and their own consciousness. You can't fake this stuff. It's in you. So yeah, it's completely, yeah. Thought would put them from one lower field of existence into a new one. And we would have to go and get them because we had the ability to get through the different gates for whatever reason.
So let me ask you, what would be your perspective, your point of view
Hmm.
on this umbilical cord? I've seen it before in the astral travels, particularly when I was taking LSD,
Hmm.
and we would get into trans meditation, and it's really bizarre because there's this connection that you always have with the physical body, and in the astral realm, at least, it could have been, the chemical, or it could have been, in fact, the reality of blended dimensions. I've
Hmm.
seen it, and it's a silver cord. It's
Hmm.
amazing. It, yeah.
I think it's actually the primary first law that has to be placed into your energy body for you to come into physical form is you have to go into the goddess. You have to go into the mother so you can get into the womb. You have to go in. And I think that is your connection between etherical and physical. And when the umbilical cord forms, it's the cord because it's also in the spiritual. See what I mean? There's a
Hmm.
spiritual cord and then there's a physical cord. There's
Thank
two
you.
cords. So
Yep.
one is a representation of the spiritual you, one is a representation of the physical you. But that cord is what allowed all of the physicality to ever exist. It all
What if
comes
there's
through the
three,
mom.
Trina?
There is.
Because
There is.
people such, and many of them are here, and as you and I, when you become empathic, when you are a gifted intuitive, that you can then begin to operate what we would call in the spectrum of the supernatural. And I'm convinced of this, that there is some of us who have a stronger umbilical cord still connected to the spiritual realm, and it's what drives us.
Yes.
I mean, does that make sense?
Totally.
Giddy
But,
up,
but it's based on consciousness.
Yeah.
And like I said, a lot of us have had to go through really rough experiences to reconnect us to the spiritual part, only because the world was just such a mess. You have to go somewhere bigger and outside of this place. So yeah, that's the key, because so many just are not aware of that part of their self. They've heard of it, but they have no knowing of it because they've never reconnected to it. So that's why the most are sleeping, because they completely have no idea about that part of their self.
I wonder if the cord has been severed somehow, because, as we were talking about someone who, does so much harm against another human being, it makes no sense. To what end is this supposed to be doing? I mean, it's obviously expressing that this individual is in a lot of pain, but something went wrong. I mean,
I think, like
wow.
I said, we were talking earlier, I think some may not actually be human. They might look human and have a human body, but I don't know that the soul is present. So
I wonder if there is a
possibly
soul.
one issue. That's why I'm saying I don't know if there is a soul present, or if I know there's a soul present, but I don't know if it's the same as a God-given soul, or it could be a different layer of creation, not as from where we're from, because we're from the angelic kingdoms, bottom line.
We're from somewhere, and we know that.
Yeah, somewhere higher. Yeah, that comes from true light. This is a false light construct, and that's why all these things have to feed, and they have to take our bodies, and that's a lot of what's happening right now. They're taking bodies.
So as you were talking, I'm looking at my desk lamp here, and it hit me. So we talk that we're beings of light, but yet these same people, these same beings of light, when it becomes dark, which is the natural state without the sun, with this cycle of how the sun and the earth rotate, etc. So what we find as light beings is that we become afraid or repulsed of the dark, but that we're missing the point. We're taking light to be in one perspective.
Right.
If I'm truly a light being, then I shine in all spectrums.
Yeah, light is infrared. It's black light.
It
It's
is.
all
It is.
forms of
It's
light.
ultraviolet.
So all of it.
It's microwave.
Yes.
It's X-ray. It's gamma ray.
Yeah. Yes. It's all of it. You don't get to say, "Oh, it's only just part."
Yeah, it's like, excuse me, I only want the sandwich.
Like
hold the mayo. Hold. It's like, no, it doesn't come that way. I mean,
and
either we are or we're not.
All the light we see here and the light in this entire universe was shown to me that this is reflective light. It's copy light. It's not true organic source light. It's fractals of copies of images. And images can become animated with friction and vibration and the right circumstances of elemental. Thought forms become real.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. They're images, and they're thought forms that have become real. And it's based on how the system works. But this system is a system where everything here has to feed. But see, when even our bodies, they're supposed to drop, but then you can get a new one, because see, your light that you emanate inside of you, that light is it never needs a charge. It's immortal. It runs forever. But a lot of the things in these lower systems, they don't hold that same spark of light, of divinity from God. They don't have it. So
it's interesting.
Their body, when they die, they think they're going to die. Like there's no continuation for their soul. There's nothing. They just think it's just game over. So, they could be right. Who are we to say that they're not?
Indeed. I just reflect, on the, 5 different near-death experiences I have now. I don't remember anything in the coma. I don't.
Right.
As I said last week, I wasn't in my body. My body was just that sick. For my body to be having to channel the energy it needed to regenerate itself from the meningitis, particularly the swelling of the Menji membrane, and then subsequently, the spinal column. Just anyway, I was out of my body.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. But as to what happened, I must have been in a timeout chamber. It's like, oh crap, it's Steiger. All right, put him over there, would you please? But the one where I was stung by these Africanized bees down in Texas, that was the strangest one. I mean, that one I was physically out of my body in this emergency room looking down at my body. And it wasn't scary. I mean, I didn't feel a pulling. What I did feel was the sensation of sleep. What I wanted to, it just felt like I was going to go to sleep. And well, sure enough, when I did, the next thing I was back in my body with this doctor who had just come back from Iraq. Talk about favor in your life. And I remember him shouting at me. He said, "You son of a bitch, you're not going to die today." And so.
Wow. That's so profound. So many people experience so many different things, and then there's so much it's similar. It's kind of amazing. I'm reading a book right now. It's called Forever Angels. It's about children's near-death experiences, and it's
How interesting.
phenomenal. It's very phenomenal. Yeah.
Any one particular incident that you've read thus far that stands out?
The one where a little girl had a pre-birth memory, and like you said, they were in a chamber in a room, and they created this oval capsule, and she was a ball of light on the floor, and they told her to look into the tunnel, and she looked into the tunnel, and they were telling her to get ready and look, see what it looks like, and she could see Earth, and as soon as she could see the Earth, she's like, they pushed me. They tricked me. She was so mad. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then the same thing, she wasn't able to see her mom for 3 days and stuff like me. I was like, okay, that's really weird. So that one really stuck out to me because it hit home so strong. I was like, oh my gosh. And she was saying the same thing. I was like, oh, this is so weird. And she was, I think, 3. Yeah.
How beautiful. Alan, to answer your question, he says, Wayne Trina, question one, if a person is blind, can they still see with the inner eye and dream? Yes.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I bet
really
you
do.
too, a way to test that would to be to put them into a light hypnosis. And you could ask them if they see in their dreams, and their higher self would ask. And so with their consciousness, because the subconscious mind has access to that too. So higher self, subconscious mind, wherever you want to go, that information's available in those processes.
It's interesting, Alan, that you bring this up. And, because I remember what I'm finding out now, my experience in my youth at the age of 15, 16, and 17, with all the experimentation that I was doing with hallucinogenics, was that it was really an initiation. But the interesting thing I was recently writing was that we talk about sight. Now, when a person is on hallucinogenics, and depending on the intensity, the very fabric of space-time is affected by your visual cortex.
Yep.
I mean, I remember seeing the thing that I always knew, that when I knew I was going to go, oh boy, here we go, was that when I could see the ground undulating. And it would feel like I was walking sometimes on marshmallow, but And then the test for me was always doing the tracers. If I could do this and count the tracers, then I knew I was really stoned, because what I'm seeing, what I didn't realize then, but what I now know what I was seeing space time. I was seeing
Yep.
moments in time.
Yep. And isn't it
It's
interesting?
fucking amazing, folks. Do you get the idea? Excuse me.
So simply by shifting your frequency of your consciousness,
Mhm.
you're able to travel into 2 dimensions at the same time.
Oh yeah. And I think sometimes in multiple dimensions.
Yeah. But
I
see
re-
how easy it is? It's just a matter of
yeah,
shifting the vibration of your consciousness.
yeah.
That's how, and your vision changes, your sensory perception changes, the laws of physics changes,
Trina,
everything changes.
I lived at this place called Family Connection, and one of the girls that was living there, she had run away, and the whole purpose of the house was was a halfway house to get you back into your home. I was a permanent resident, which was far out. But anyway, I had taken some, I think it was Orange Sunshine, and I was talking, I still remember Kathleen Smith, and I'm talking to her, and she had beautiful blonde hair like you know. But the next thing I know, I'm talking to her, and she starts growing these huge ears, and they're green and white striped. And
Wow.
I'm looking at her going, and I'm standing right there on these stairs going, "You've got the strangest face." Anyway, and I digress, folks, but that's a
That's very
flashback.
interesting. I think that's cool. That's
Oh,
very
it was.
interesting. Yeah, she morphed into something different, which could be
Oh,
one of
yeah.
her other planetary body expressions, like you were seeing part of it and part of her blending together. Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be a lot of different things.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Green and white stripes. That's very interesting. I like
Yeah.
that. That's cool.
Janice, right back. Jeannie, good to see you.
Hi,
Yeah.
everybody.
And it's true, though. I mean, I've told this experience before, but, we didn't get much surf down in Texas, but there was a place down there called Surfside. Many of you who listen there in the Houston and the Texas area, you know where I'm talking about. And of course, 50 years ago, the whole topography of the land was different. But we were out there, and we had paddled out there, and there was a hurricane that was in the Gulf, but it hadn't hit us in our area. But we were pretty well wasted. And the most interesting thing is when the Dolphins came up.
Oh, wow.
And that was a strange experience. It's almost like they knew we were not in the frequency that most humans are.
Yeah, I bet they
Because
did.
they go, and they have their mouths up like that. And
Yep.
yeah, anyway. Yeah.
I bet they did know, Wayne.
I think they did.
They're so much more sensitive to frequency than we are. Yeah, I bet they did know. I bet you a whale would know too.
I would think so as well. And while I'm talking about, so it's very interesting. When Lynn and I got married, we got married in Hawaii. We went out on a day cruise on this huge catamaran and went diving, and snorkeling. But as we were going out, the dolphin came up. And it was really cool because I had that flashback. And so I'm going up there on the point of where you can lean over, and here they were all over. And anyway, it's pretty cool.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that frequency, when you lock into that, you start emanating it, and they sense it. They do know that they're so much more aware of that part of
Boy,
us
aren't
than
they?
we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hello everyone in the chat room. We haven't forgotten about you, but I've loved the energy so far. This has been kind of really cool.
A really beautiful story. The girl I told you, my girlfriend that I hadn't talked to in a few years.
Your blood sister?
No, different one.
Oh,
the one that I had the dream about. I had a dream about her. So I called her, and I haven't spoken with her in a few years. I mean, we chat on Facebook. Hello, just, but I haven't talked to her. And she went to go swim with dolphins. And she wanted to do a frequency experiment on and what would happen to them if you just really meditate and focus serious love energy, gratitude energy to the dolphins. And She started doing that when she was in the pool, and this mommy dolphin and the little baby that wouldn't leave her side, they literally took her by her life jacket and pushed her on her chest and took her away from all the other humans. And they just surrounded her and protected her and would let nobody go near her. And then the trainers kept calling the dolphin. Dolphin would not listen to the trainers and
Wow.
would not leave her alone. And she was just saying, thank you, I love you. Thank you so much. I love you. They literally like, oh, you're different than the rest. We're going to put you over here.
You know, I had John Martin on here, I guess 5-6 years ago, and John Martin was featured on a number of the paranormal shows. He was a person who could call the UFOs in, and his vibration was love.
Yeah.
Same thing of what, she was doing with the dolphins.
Yes. You know, it was interesting too. A couple of these childhood near-death experiences, they felt when they went up, they merged their soul with an alien.
Wow.
2 different reports of that. Mm-hmm.
How? And these are children, right?
Children.
So,
yeah. All children. Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, London man, how are you? Just let's just say hello, Loretta,
Hi,
Chloe, everybody. We love you. Thank you. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for being here,
indeed.
Regina.
Put
Hermes,
my eyes on.
Sam.
I can see you guys too.
There's Sister of Hope Grace. How are you doing?
Hi,
Ronnie,
Sam.
good to see you. Sam, hello.
Hermes Trismegistus. Hello.
I love that.
Me too.
That.
Hi, London man. I love what you're doing, London man. It's awesome.
Far out. Yeah, it's such a great, beautiful group of people.
We really do.
Yeah.
We really do.
Hey, Ballot Brand.
Ballot.
How you doing, brother?
Musgrave. Hi.
Ballot Brand is.
I got to meet Musgrave this last weekend. That was kind of nice.
Did you really?
Yeah, she was on A7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we should have her on here. I mean,
it was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was fun. We had a good time. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And I know I saw you over there with Brian and Robert.
Yeah. That was fun too. I did the reading of The Child Prophet, which I haven't read in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That's just so amazing. Yeah. And then I read another one too that came out a few days before that one. And they both were just like, I was like, wow, these are unique. These ones are really unique. Hi, Deborah.
Hey, Deborah. The Soul Tribe is the best tribe.
Oh, we love you. You guys are the Soul Tribe.
Y'all
That's
all
why
is.
It's so wonderful.
Hillary, good to see you. I'm not sure
Hi.
I'm still in this valley. Well, I hope you're not. But a valley is kind of cool, So here's my perspective. I kind of dig valleys because, in summertime when it's like freaking bloody hot and, the mountains were always cool because it may be hot, but if you're in that valley, you're going to get the sun is going to be off of you. So anyway, I digress. So
hi, Lost in Space.
Lost in Space.
Yes,
What's up?
Space.
Happy Valentine's Day. Again, I love this.
Lady Elite.
How are you, my dear? She's
Chloe.
Sending out the love vibe.
Yes, little Chloe. I just love you, little birthday girl. Happy belated birthday, Chloe. Her birthday.
Oh, well, happy birthday, Chloe.
She just had a birthday.
How young? You don't need to say.
I don't know.
I don't know. No, it's not really important. Important thing is that you're here. It's all in perspective. S. Lee says snow here in northern New Mexico. Wow.
We might get snow today in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Wow.
We might have had some this morning. I'll ask my people. Yeah.
Slap my white butt funny. Here you go.
That's funny.
I do have some of that, slap your mama's ass sauce. It's really good.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, and y'all, Penny Kelly had to go in for emergency surgery yesterday. So send prayers and healing wishes to Penny Kelly.
Okay, I have her in my I
really like Penny Kelly. I love what she does.
Do we know anything about that? I don't know.
All I know was emergency surgery. I think it was unexpected. So something's going on. So send healing prayers to Penny Kelly, y'all. Yeah.
Yes, we send out there.
Absolutely. Send lots of love.
Lots of love.
Assistance to whatever she needs. So be it, and be it done well, fast, and now.
Yosley, good to see you, and Bernadette. So Trina, I want to talk while we got some time because there is something unfolding as we speak
Oh,
that is, well, folks, you're not hearing it in the media, and that is very alarming. But the incident in, is it Palestine, Pennsylvania?
mhm.
And 50 rail cars had derailed. Now, this derailment, by the way, was not recent. It was 5, maybe 8 days ago. They moved the residents out of the region. Now, I know something about these. When I was in Austin, Texas, I was the CEO of a software company, and this is what our software was designed for. It eventually was absorbed by another company. So this was exactly what our software was designed to do. So what we have unfolding, Trina, is now becoming the single largest ecological disaster in U.S. history. At the current rate, it is estimated 1/3, and this is going from the Mississippi eastward, because remember, the Ohio River eventually empties into the Mississippi. 1/3 of all fresh water will be and is most likely already becoming contaminated. And these chemicals that we're talking about, these are some of the worst of the worst. Reports are coming out of large scale. We're not talking just miles, we're talking 20, 30 miles. Animals dying. Apparently, dead animals are becoming more frequent. It's apparently just really bad. Now, it doesn't escape me when I saw the number come in that 1/3 of the fresh water would become contaminated, because that's a major prophecy in the book of Revelation.
It sure is.
Now, it could be just a coincidence. It could be just something, but whatever is happening, here's the point that you and I were talking before we went out here, that humans are behind this. I mean, if this was an actual derailment due to maybe faulty rails, I mean, that does happen, but the peculiarity of this one is this was in my former business, and we worked with Northrop Grumman. We worked with what was then becoming the Department of Homeland Security, because all these agencies, we needed their subject matter experts as we were putting in the data into the system. And this would be one that we would call, this would be a hot load. In other words, you normally would not see the type of chemicals that are now being found out about it. You would typically not have them in a same rail, same section of a train, because common sense says, well, if I'm dealing with, the code on this particular chemical that has a highly reactive reaction to this chemical, well, you're just setting up for disaster. You don't do it. In fact, I can tell you, it's against the law. You don't do that.
Apparently, too, Wayne, I heard, I don't know, I haven't had time to investigate it, but that there were 2 more train derailments, I think, yesterday.
See, this is just
Something's going
weird. I
on.
mean,
Yeah,
something
something's
is
going
going on. I
Something's
mean,
going on.
and we all tried to be very positive, but
Right.
these type of things have consequences,
Big time.
big time.
Big
And
time.
I just find it peculiar, because where this one in Pennsylvania is, there's huge areas of farmland that won't be farmed this year.
Nope.
So
They'll contaminate all the soil.
bingo.
This is big, guys. This is a big one. This is a really big.
The single largest ecological disaster. This will outdo the Valdez, because the
And
Valdez was contained.
Wayne, they took the most toxic water in the world and had 30 monks pray over it for 30 days. Thank you. Just thank you to the water. That's all they did, was just say thank you. And in 30 days, that water was drinkable. Y'all, we need to pray thank you over the water.
We need Mother
All day,
Earth
every day.
to come to our aid on this one, because the potential of some contamination like this is mind-boggling. I mean,
But you know what though, Wayne? How you just said humans did this?
yes. Yeah.
You know what? Humans can pray and fix this. I know we have this power.
I do
Believe it,
Yeah.
and we will do it. No matter what comes against us, we will be able to correct it, transmute it. That's what we do. You don't fight, you transmute.
Mm. I do believe that's exactly how it's done.
It is how it's done.
Because the powers, I just want to thank everyone for the comments yesterday on the show. I read the comments, and such great. I love the minds in this group. Very open, very, it's a way that every person can express. And what I find is that there's threads of commonality within
all of us,
all expressions. Yeah. And so thank you for that. I appreciate that. The comment was that, with the Macaulay, there we go. Sure, I can
the tongue
speak.
starts to twisting. Yeah, the tongue. You're like, come on now.
The Malachi prophecies. It's interesting because
it is.
Again, Trini, you know I've talked about this, but again, the show's called A Second Look. What's happening in your point of view of, if there's something that was prophetic, and let's say 500-600 years ago, where Malachi was concerned, he knew exactly who each one of these popes would. He knew their time, their birth. He knew when the next one would come in. Yeah, that's remarkable. I mean,
and the names and everything.
The names,
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
What?
And the accuracy is just insanity.
That's the troubling part, because
over all
of the
that
accuracy.
Time, over all that span of time, all those to be correct. Uncanny.
My mentor in biblical prophecy, and he was a remarkable man. He brought this out, and the thing was, back in the late 70s, Hilton Sutton, people want to know what his name was. I remember we were at dinner, and he was talking about the fact, he says, isn't it interesting? Because this is right before Pope John Paul. I mean, so we're going back in the late 70s. And, he was saying, if we were to be alive to see the 112th Pope. And I remember this conversation. I said, well, I think I might be. And he says, I don't think I will be. And he's not, I am. But nevertheless, I have witnessed what to me is one uncanny. It's uncanny for a prediction of this magnitude in its impact on the world.
Unbelievable.
Because if he's right about this,
Wayne, I do think he's right. I really do. I knew that the darkness would enter in, and that's why that's why we would have all the problems. Yeah.
I have a friend, back when I was getting into the film industry, worked on a project of a independent producer here in St. Louis, and he had access to the Vatican. And it's real interesting. There is a presence that is alive in that building.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there is. I read recently someone was there that had been in the Vatican 45 years ago, who recently was in there. And this person said, there's a new occupant in there.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, I really do. I think that this might be accurate. And it's because of how it feels. That's why. That's why I
So
think
when
that.
Pope Benedict died, did you see the picture of what happened at
Mm-mm.
what is it, St. Peter's Basilica?
Yep. Basilica. Hmm.
Go check it out. The lightning bolt that hit the steeple
Oh,
at
wow.
his exact moment of death.
Oh,
This is
wow.
someone who said, "And behold, I seen Satan fall to the earth as a dragon in a lightning bolt, and his wrath was great."
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah, this has a lot of potential to be right. But you know what? It's like you said, prophecy, it's a script.
So that's my point. Now, because here again, outside the lightning bolt. Now, I don't know how that happened. I mean, if that was a sign, then okay. But I mean, for all the rest of this, there had to be us. I mean, it's humans doing this.
Yes.
I mean, Trina, are we just automatons? I mean,
Well, many are because they're asleep. They don't realize they're more than this experience. But see, Wayne, there's a lot of us now that know we're more than this experience. So as humans can create out of, remember, forgive them for they know not what they do. They don't know. They really don't know. They don't know. They don't know. Oh God, because if they knew,
I
they
see.
wouldn't.
That's why I have a
They
problem with the
wouldn't.
aliens. Because
Right?
this is a planet of idiots. I mean,
Yeah, there's a lot here.
I mean, how many of you
Darn
remember
it.
the movie Mom and Dad Saves the World? John Lovitz is in there, and he's the king over a planet of idiots.
Oh
And
boy.
and we are that planet of idiots. I mean,
Yeah.
so last night I was talking to an individual, and there is this thing that and hopefully we can stop this, because if we can inject a counter thought. But apparently, I believe they're calling it Operation Z, which is the Russians' response in their plans for their next military action in Ukraine. Folks, I love every one of you that's in here. We are a group. We are a group that are bound by an energy, and I will say it. There is a love and there's a respect. We got to do better, because Trina, I don't understand it. I was talking to a friend, again, very much involved in the current political environment in DC. They're planning a war. I mean, he was saying, this is not just, he said, I can't stress to you enough. He says that if this happens, he said, there's no turning it back. And I think about this group.
Just pray peace, pray peace.
Boy,
pray
we
peace.
need
That's
to
all we can
do
do.
something.
You just have to cancel the frequency with the opposite vibration. The opposite of war is peace. Pray peace. Pray it as often as you can, and pray
peace.
Gratitude to the water. If we say thank you to the water, okay, guys, that affects everything on this planet, because we are water bags. Animals, water, everything is the water. So if you really want to just unify on a concept and a thought, this covers it all. This covers war. This covers the water being poisoned. It covers all of it. Because if you say thank you to the water, it'll heal everything that's gone wrong through the counterbalancing of the gratitude. Gratitude and love and joy and thank you. They are very powerful frequencies, and they override almost all frequencies.
I agree. And Colleen, you're right. The lightning bolt was on the day he resigned, not die.
Yes.
Pope Benedict. And I don't think he resigned. I think he was.
Like you said, he
I think
never
the bad
abdicated.
Guys really said,
If he never abdicated,
no,
that means he was forced into resignation. Yeah, there's no way he would, if he resigned of his own accord, then he would have abdicated, no problem.
Then this Francis character is the Black Pope.
Oh, absolutely.
the anti-pope.
Absolutely.
And and again, Lynn and I, we had such a delightful time as we were having dinner and just discussing this, because as she was saying, everyone senses there's something ain't right.
Absolutely.
It's like
Yeah.
having,
Yeah.
A blouse or a pair of trousers that just doesn't quite fit right, and you know it. It's just that little bit that undoes the whole thing. And this is where we are. I mean, it is wow. And I just keep saying we need to have that anti-voice. That's what we did in the late 60s and the 70s in the peace marches, and demanding that, that our government stop this nonsense, stop this going over the cliff. You have a granddaughter coming. You're going to, well, I don't know if it's a granddaughter.
Interesting you said that. I wonder that too.
I don't know where that came from. So
I love it.
All right, write that one down, dear.
I will. Wayne called it first.
Yeah,
girl.
I don't know where it came from, but anyway, I think we can change this. It's just that, boy, I don't know. This book I'm reading, The Secret History of the World, is really interesting, because this has all the markings of a dark sun. And, Biden, when he came into office, he warned us that, America was going into dark winter. And you see all of this coming together, and I'm standing here going, well, how do we combat this? Now, you're right. If maybe at one time during the day where we could do this in a daisy chain around the world, where,
and just for us to hold the intention that we're unifying for this thought and this process, I think the more times a day from all the different places in the world, just go with your gut, because if you think about it, it's your time. Do it. I think that's how it might come in, because you're going to be hit with the thought of it when the energy might be really needed in your area. So pay attention to that too. So to do it together at a time is wonderful, but pay attention to your gut. And if you feel or have the thought of it, please do it, because it means it might be needed in your area, and you're able to control the frequency in your immediate location.
Yep, there's 24 hours in the clock, and you obviously sleep, but here's the thing, we can start, for instance, I'm always up way before the crack of dawn, but anyway, you could say, well, I'm going to give, at 6 a.m. will be my purpose of intent. But throughout the day, like you said, I'm going to start thinking peace.
Me too. Peace. And I'm going to thank you to the water.
Thank you. And I think thank you. An attitude of gratitude.
Oh, it just works best for me. I go straight to the highest vibrations when I go there. So I'm just going to give it my best shot.
Esley says Game of Thrones series. I never watched that. Winter's coming. Winter has come. Winter's here.
Oh boy.
Ain't that the truth? Jackie, you're right. Love wins all the time.
Does. Yeah.
Hermes says that's the hard part, is getting people on the same page and then agreeing on the outcome. Indeed. I guess maybe
I think it's okay if we're all just doing it with a good intention. I don't know that it really matters. And I think, that's, I think part of the problem is we all try to agree on the same thing. I think that's the biggest problem. We don't need to agree on the same thing. We just need to go with an intention to help and do it the way you want. I think our diversity, Wayne, is our greatest strength.
Yeah, but you know what? It is our strength. It is the diversity.
Yeah, I do. I think it's the greatest strength.
So I've just put a note, and what we need is someone like a Ringo Starr, someone that could do, because, he has it on his birthday. I think it's July 7th or maybe right around that area. He has asked, as the world thinks of him, on his day that he was born, to think world peace.
Wonderful.
Now it's that type, if we can tap into something, hey Gilbert, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. That type of momentum and energy already, to where, let's do a campaign. It's interesting. It doesn't take long for a nonprofit or a foundation to get behind an idea and push it.
Give peace a chance, you know?
That's why, I'm reaching out to, and if the rest of y'all reach out to Ringo. I mean, you can reach out to his publicist. I'll get it's not like they have, all of them have publicists, but this is something I think that could really work.
I do too. I remember Wayne, I'd always complain about the world, and the Lord would always tell me, don't complain, do something about it. If you want to heal the world, you'll heal the water. He always told me that. So I know that's such a big part of this. And it
has to be simple.
Like you said, peace.
It has to be simple.
It does. And we can't, and do it any way you want. No rules for you. Do what works for you. You got to do you.
I tried back in 2016 and 17, I put, 60 seconds for humanity together. It was, it was a 503c, fully approved nonprofit from the IRS. But it was amazing. People just didn't get it. And then there was a reason for it, because they weren't hurting. There was no evidence of imminent disaster. Yeah. Okay, what a freaking fabulous show, Trina.
Yeah, and Wayne, while we're in for some stuff, and I really do think that we're going to make a difference just with putting our thoughts out there to help in any way that we can. I heard this message the other day. It was like, for those of you who sit in the backgrounds and maybe don't even participate in chat, they're wondering if any of this is even helping or making a difference. And then I was shown again the phrase of the greatest change happens from the smallest things. And it's like these small acts of kindness, these new concepts of higher mind consciousness, knowing that you're more than your body, you have a soul and a spirit, and we're connected to so much more than just this. And love, that binding fabric that binds it all together. It's making such a big difference. I promise you, it's such a big difference. So thank every single person who watches, participates, tries to learn and love and heal this world and make it better than when we can.
As you were talking, when London was being bombed in the Nazis' blitzkrieg of the bombing campaign of trying to put London, to non-existence, it was interesting because the stories were replete of how individuals who many people in the neighborhood would have never thought became the strongest influence by always being that positive vibration. Even in the midst of this hell, there were those people who were able to rally the others who were in despair.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe all of us, some of us, who knows, may be called for doing that in your local area.
Yeah. Get ready, because many of you will be.
You will be that
you will be the
morning
ones
star.
that understand what's happening when they don't understand how their world is falling apart. You will have you'll have the understanding, and you'll be able to explain to them what's happening, and that alone will help them so much. So
regardless of what is about to unfold, we'll still have this moment together. And if it should ever be where it's interrupted, the thing about it is, hopefully you've downloaded them, the videos. You can do that, I believe, right? But anyway, we'll draw upon these memories of these conversations. It's like Trina, us, and I know we really hold people over, but it's kind of like the thing about making a video of after your passing, but you play it while you're still here. It's kind of interesting, because then you can actually say, well, I did my video before I passed, but I didn't pass, but I passed.
Right. Yep.
That's it.
Yes. I get to see
And
Go has been putting up old videos, and it's so neat because he pulls up some of the ones from you and I just sit and watch them, and it's so wonderful because it's just amazing to reflect, and it's amazing. I love
I
it.
love
So
this
thank you,
show.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go. Thank you for sure.
Yeah.
Mary Wins, you are loved, darling.
We love you, Mary.
Absolutely. Off the hook. I love this.
Off the
All
hook.
right, Trina, love the hour. So we
Me
really went
too.
over, but wow, it went quick.
Yep. Lots going on, folks. So be the
Yeah.
frequency we want to receive. And yeah.
So are you going to be on any show like over the week or the weekend?
Not this weekend. Yeah. So not this weekend. I've got a lot of other stuff I got to get going, but probably in the next week or two. I'm going to try to get back on Roberts, hopefully once a month, maybe. So we're working on some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you look fabulous. You have a great
Thank
energy.
you.
Thank you.
So do you, Wayne.
Well, honey, I'm just honored. It's like, geez, like, don't tell me I ain't got favor. That's all I got to say.
Do too. I feel the same.
I got
got
Trina,
favor.
that's
I got
it.
y'all, and I got Wayne, and I'm like, yeah, favor.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I said,
favor. That's favor,
Wayne,
baby.
I thank God for you every day on such a deep level, because literally you've been one of my best friends for processing all of this consciousness. And so grateful, so grateful, so grateful. Oh my goodness. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
I'm honored, Trina.
I am too. I am honored too.
All right. No crying. No crying
I know,
aloud,
right?
Yeah. It's like, would y'all stop, man? I mean, all right,
love
everybody.
You guys all love you
We
so
do
much.
love all of you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for hitting the like button.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being you. I love how Jules says that. Thank you for being you.
Yes.
Right. Thank you for all your gifts and talents, right?
Yes, that's
See,
right.
Jules,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
All days and all ways.
That's it.
Yes. Yes.
All right. We rhyme all the time, but we're out of here because,
we are out of time.
Exactly. Thank you. All right. Much love, everybody. Ciao.